going on, everybody? Welcome to Isles Talk here, season 6, episode 6. And we've got quite a bit to talk about here. We've got all of us here, the gang's all back, feeling healthy. Uh, Joining me tonight, uh, Gary Harding, the godfather of Isles social media. How are you, sir?
In your dreams.
Isles social
Sir.
media. All
I
right,
was.
and yes, and battling allergies and some nasty bronchitis, if I'm not
Ooh.
mistaken. Welcome back, Joe Panettiere. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm feeling better.
All
I'm
right.
about 80% right now. I'm
right,
going to
all
be
right.
nice tonight. I'm going to be nice.
Looking, not so much, but
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, keep the camera on Joe and Gary. Yeah, Randy's just gonna. Wow, what the hell is this? Matthew's finally here, and we got Cutler, Basement Boys. That's not right. That's not right, Cutler. Not at all. Anyway, welcome, boys and girls. Listen, gentlemen, this Islander season certainly has not started off on the right foot, but getting shut out 3 times in the first 6 games is definitely not what we had expected. It's not what anyone else had expected. And a lot of people are wondering where the goals are coming from or where they're not coming from. So, I wanted to take this quick opportunity to talk about the younger players: Holmstrom, Wallstrom, McLean. Some of these younger players who don't need the AHL anymore, but they're still trying to find their niche here in the National Hockey League. And one of the things that I haven't had the chance to talk about, because let's face it, growing up in the 90s, when we had Islander star players getting close, they always got traded. And, you come into the 2000s and whatnot, we barely had any draft picks to begin with. And it wasn't until after John Tavares started showing up that we were able to collect some of these first rounders and keep them and so on and so forth. But we have first rounders. We have a couple of players who weren't even drafted, and they finally are here. But shut up. Oh, yeah. Speak American. Yeah. You're such a jerk. Anyway, there's a certain amount of games for the younger players when they step into the NHL in order for them to really get it. And for those of you who have been watching the show forever, I've always used not yet. I've always used the ages 23 and 24 as that baseline, because when it comes to forwards, they don't seem to hit a certain level, like a breakout year, until game 200 for forwards. And it's usually around 350, 400 for the defenseman. Usually around that time, when they hit around those 200 games mark, that's when they hit 23, 24. Okay. The problem that the Islander younger players have is that Oliver Wallstrom still hasn't hit 200 games yet. He's going to in seven games. But that road to 200 has been nothing short of difficult for him. Simon Holmstrom won't get to 200 games until the end of the season. Kyle McLean hasn't even broken 50 games yet at the NHL level. Foodie, who just got called up, he's barely got over 100. I think he might be closer to 150.
He's about 120, I think, Paul.
I think he's about 120. Okay. Siplikov only has 6 games in the NHL. However, as Gary pointed out to me before, and we knew this beforehand, he's got quite a few games in the KHL. He's 26, but you still need a certain amount of games to be comfortable. And we're going to get to that with Joe a little later on in the show. But for me right now, you're not going to get a lot of those goals from the kids, especially when 3/4 of them are basically on the fourth line. And you have Simon Holmstrom, who, yes, probably should stay on that third line, but he's more defensively sound to stay on that first line for a little while. But if you're expecting 10 goals over 30 games, 10 goals in 20 games from Holmstrom because he's on the first line, it's not going to happen. And we're going to let Joe and Gary go dive in a little bit deeper when we have this next conversation. Hello, how are you?
It's great. Sorry, guys.
Yep. And Matthew, I'm not going to disagree with this. Wally needs a shot on the top two lines. Holmstrom is not a top six. Wahlstrom and Holmstrom both share the same common problem at the moment. It's the amount of games and minutes played. Wahlstrom is still coming off an injury. For as far as I'm concerned this year, if Wahlstrom has a healthy season, that's a win. What are you going to get with Simon Holmstrom? I don't know if we should put any expectations on him. Gary, what do you think? This kid's only got, say, 130 games?
Yeah. I just look at the fact that, yes, I don't think Wahlstrom is deserving of top line yet. He still has, and again, we've made this argument for a long time, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, Matt. I think there's time he should come up there, but he doesn't get an automatic.
No.
He hasn't deserved an automatic.
Correct.
Holmstrom, at least last year, did enough work, maybe not to everybody's expectations, but he did enough work to deserve it. And he's not going to give you the goals, but he's not going to be a liability on the backside.
No.
And at this point, you're not going to get somebody of Anthony Duclair's pedigree to move into that spot. You need to keep that line well-rounded. You don't want to put a liability out there. So, right. Yes, will Wahlstrom get a chance 15 games down the road if he's improved his 200-foot game? Yes, I want to see that happen. I've not really been knocking on Wahlstrom. I'm rooting for him.
Right.
But he's got to play the game the right way. And I think he's making strides there. The first couple of games, I've not been disappointed. He just needs to get that better. And when he does, then you get him out there and you let him rip.
Before we continue, we're now going to go straight into water cooler talk here. For all of you on this show, in the chat room and whatnot, and it doesn't matter from where, give me your heart and soul Islander. Give me that one player that you think is going to get your game-winning goal. Give me that one. Give me your heart and soul Islander right now, if you even have one. Type in none if you don't. If you don't believe in any of these players, type in none. That's fine. But if there's a player that you feel is a heart and soul that can get you that win, put that in there.
Let's take out let's take out the obvious. Take out Barzell, take out Horvat, because that's what they're there for.
Right.
You pick a player other than those two.
Right. Right. And the reason why we're having this conversation, boys and girls, I didn't read any of the other chats in the other Islander forums, in the other Islander groups on purpose. For those of you who thought that I want John Tavares back, no, that's not it. However, the jersey behind me is up, and Gary is going to play John Tavares. I can't believe he still has that, Joe. I don't know.
No, this is Claire. This is Claire.
Okay, blaming the wife now.
Actually, you know what? No, take it back. You know where I got this? I got this from the All-Star game in Ottawa when I went in 2012, I think. Yeah, right. 2012.
So, yeah, gentlemen, this is going to get down to what we were just saying before with the Islanders getting shut out their first 3 games. Listen, let's keep it with the positive real quick. Defensively, goaltending, I don't think we really have any major issues here. Yes, Varlamov has had a hiccup or two, but it's the beginning of the season. I'm not putting anything really on Varlamov. Sorokin has looked phenomenal. The defense has been good. Do we have any issues with the defense right now?
No.
Okay. The system appears to be working. We all knew going ahead into the season that Patrick Waugh was going to have this team more on the defensive side anyway. That's coming to fruition early on. Okay. Offensively, yes, the goals are eventually going to come. It's game 6. Yes, everything is early. Yes, all of that. Gentlemen, I don't think the Islanders have ever been shut out 3 times in their first 6 games. I don't even think that happened in their inaugural season. I haven't even looked it up.
No, it didn't.
Okay. My question to well, here's my statement, and we'll let you guys run off of this. You cannot lose. And even with Anthony Duclair, whether he's in the lineup or not, you cannot lose to a team like the St. Louis Blues or the Detroit Red Wings in a 1-0 game. And what the Islanders are missing from this squad are the characteristics of a former 91 player who would never let his team lose the way they have. Am I right? Am I wrong? Are we missing this? Because I'll make this argument as well. When John Tavares left, and yes, he did leave, Lou brought back the identity line. There was character on this team. There was still something there that if you needed that spark, they were there to give it to you. When the identity line wasn't there, you had John Tavares and to a certain extent, Thomas Greiss to give you that spark. Now the Islanders only have Ilya Sorokin. They don't have an identity line. Gentlemen, who should be your John Tavares on this team?
Well, I'll start. I mean, for all obvious purposes, you think it's got to be Bo. And, he's that type of a player. Similar pedigree, similar style, similar, I think, locker room presence as a John Tavares. But up until these first 6 games, and again, he hasn't played terrible. Let's preface that. I'm not saying he's like down in the dumps and get rid of him. He's been playing fine.
Absolutely.
But he's the type of guy that you expect, when the chips are on the line, that that he's going to see it through. So to me, that's a 1A. A 1B. And again, how many years have we talked about Brocktober?
Right.
How many years have we talked about Brocktober and what he's done? He's lost. And I don't think he's lost a step. I think it's, and I hate to say mental loss, but again, players brain fart. Players have games that they don't want to remember, and they're just not in it, even though physically and emotionally they are. It just somehow the results don't translate into the game. And to me, just making a comment on last night, because again, I was there. No, the first 40 minutes, despite the score, I really thought, and Patrick said it after in the press conference, they dominated just about every part of the game, except doing the one thing you need to do to win a game. But what bothered me, and this is where I was expecting it from a Brock or a Bo, was in the last 10 minutes, even though you're down 1-0, to be in a desperation situation. And not only were they not in desperation situation, they looked like complete. The word to me I use is abysmal, because the way they were pushing the puck around, especially on that power play, I'm like, have they forgotten everything Patrick's taught them in like 5 minutes? And that's where you need That's where John Tavares came in. Like him or not. Like Tavares or not. And I had no problems with Tavares at all. But like him or not, you knew that if they were down, he was going to put not necessarily a gear on, but there was an extra little aura around surrounding him saying, let's do this. I got to do this, or I got to help somebody do this. Bo has done that his entire Islander career, but the last night, not so much. That's where I'm looking for. I'm looking for that guy. And those are the ones I expect. I mean, how wrong do you think I am, guys?
No, you're not.
I think you're right. You actually used the two players I was going to say. I mean, Brock had a good game. I think he hit the crossbar once, and I think he hit the post on another shot. But what I'm noticing now, teams are getting hip to Horvat's game, sending up in between the circles at the top of the slot. Okay, they're taking that pass away. And now that Duclair's not there, I mean, they gotta put somebody on that line. And we talked before. I think it's going to have to be Siplikov because that kid could shoot, and he's got the experience. And we were talking. Well, I just want to go back because you were talking about Holstrom and Wallstrom before.
Absolutely.
I don't think they're set for that yet. They're not ready for that top line. They're not ready.
No, and that's why I brought up those numbers. Absolutely.
Right. You gotta get somebody on that line to shoot now. But my play is the same thing. It's Horvat and Brock Nelson. They got to put the team on their back in a game like that and say, all right, listen, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna win this game for us. And right now we're not seeing that.
Gentlemen, I'm going to go a step further. Cutler, I'm going to agree with this as well. Number 13. We didn't have this issue with Tavares, gentlemen, and boys and girls, you guys watching. Okay. How many times have we heard we don't have a player to play with Barzell, or we can't find a left winger to play with Bo and to play with Barzell? Gentlemen, the last time I remember, 2010 to 2018, P.A. Parento, Matt Molson, to a degree Thomas Vanek, Kyle Oposo, Josh Bailey, they all owe a big chunk of their careers to John Tavares because he made them better players. Are we at a point where Bo can't take someone, even like a Holmstrom or a Siplikov, who can shoot the puck? He can't make him better? It may not be, you might not be able to answer here, but come on.
Just look at the top guys in the league and how they've made other guys better. McKinnon, to an extent, Crosby. I mean, he took unknown Jake Gensel and turned him into a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of guys you want. And Barzy's not 22 anymore. He's 27. He's been around enough. Maybe he needs to put on that hat and stop thinking more about the highlight reel and get the other guys involved.
Good point.
And again, that's not being negative. I think it's just taking your game to the next step. That's all it is. I'm definitely not bugging or, being negative on the team. I just think they need to move it up a notch. That's all. And can they do it? Sure they can.
Joe, we were talking about this before. Detroit either read the playbook or they rewrote it again on Barzell. The moment Barzell crossed that blue line, he was done. And the moment he was done, he did those back passes to nobody.
All they did was step up on him. That's all they did. They stepped up on him, and the puck was turned over. And it happens countless times. Just dump the puck in, use your speed, and get it. It's simple. It's not hard, but to try and carry, and like Gary says, make that highlight reel play, and you got four other forwards with you, 2 other forwards and 2 defensemen. I mean, dish the puck off.
Right. and I'm going to help out Randy here for a moment. We haven't mentioned Lee yet. Lee is now on the third line where he belongs. But I'll tell you what, Randy. Anders Lee got his goal by crashing the net. J.G. Pachot scored his one goal so far, getting a rebound off Simon Holmstrom's shot, crashing the net. Gary, how many times did we see the Islanders crash that net against Detroit last night?
Just the one.
One. Kyle Palmieri with 2 minutes to go in the game. Joe, you and I play goalies. When we're hot, especially during that game. Are we expecting to get crashed towards the end of the night? Were we expecting to get, knocked over, trying to shake us up, trying to, do something to mess us up?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's part of the game. You got to throw the goalie off his game. You got to get in his kitchen.
Cutler, there's a little bit of truth to what you said to that, but it's not Martin, it's not Clutterbuck. I want McLean to feed Wahlstrom or Cizikas, whoever's on that line. I want Wahlstrom to get the puck and shoot it if he's in the offensive zone, because you have a player like McLean who's going to crash that net with all that passion and try to get those dirty goals. I want something like that. I want a new identity line. But I want to see some of that passion, some of the forechecking that the old identity line brought. But I want to see that from the younger kids. Too many aisles fall behind the net. Sometimes that's true. So, gentlemen, Anthony Duclair's injury, no matter what it is, we'll call it lower body. It could be a groin, could be a knee, could be an ankle. Either way, it's lower body.
It's lower than his waist.
Okay. You're looking at a solid weeks to months?
Groin pull, months.
Months.
I thought it was ankle.
Ankle could still be weeks to months,
Yeah.
especially if they haven't been able to get a proper diagnosis of it yet. And yes, I will do this real quick, Randy. Thank you. Yes, no goals yet from the offense, but in all honesty, the only person I was expecting to score a goal from is Noah Dobson. But again, we're only 6 games in. I will be more critical of the defense when we're into game like 15. Give them a little more time. But I understand where Randy's coming from
too. It's not like he's been non-observant.
Right. Listen, gentlemen, is there a player, and Joe, I'll probably let you do this because we talked about it when he was first signed. Is there a player who could bring the character of number 91 to that team? Could it be Siplikov?
I think it is. I think Siplikov would be my pick. Given the playing time, given a spot on the top line, I think he would be the type of guy to say, "Hey, listen, give me the puck, let me use my speed, I'll crash the net," and then you have Horvat and Barzy banging in the rebounds because this kid's not afraid to shoot. He's an experienced hockey player. I think he's just waiting for that spot, for his chance to get on that top line, and you're going to see this kid do some magic.
And Gary, you and I said this before, and I know Joe was here too. When we first heard that he had signed, that was my hope that he would be on the first line at some point. And to Joe's credit, it could be early November if Holmstrom can't find a way to shoot the puck and get Horvat and Barzal included, because over the summer we talked about his shooting. Yes, his speed is a little. It's a work in progress. I get that he's not as fast as the others, but his shot's right there. His shot is lethal. You're gonna cause Horvat and Barzal to force them to get into the crease, to get those garbage goals like another former center of the New York Islanders used to do, where he made most of his money. What do you think of Siplikov in there?
Oh, I love it. I just, with every YouTube video I watched in the summer of his KHL play, I was like, he fits that line to a glove. Wasn't maybe correlating to the John Tavares mode of thinking, but he does the things that allow, like you said, that allow players to get these garbage goals if they get in front of the net, if they do what they're supposed to do. And he's deceptive for a guy that big. He's deceptive. And you know what? Despite the fact that he has a little bit of command to English language, he understands the language of hockey, and you don't need to be English or Russian or whatever to play. That's not an issue. It's never been an issue. So, but he's got it. He has it. And I think, I don't think they wanted to. I don't think Patrick wanted to put him up there. I mean, obviously, you had to clear, but I don't think he wanted to put him up that fast.
No.
But with the injury, there's no choice. And I think he's proved everything he needs to prove. Yeah, he may not have, 5 points or whatever already, but to me, his play has spoken enough that he needs to be on that line.
Go ahead, Joe.
I want to add something. If you all remember when Tavares came up, he wasn't a great skater.
No, he wasn't.
He worked on that, and he worked hard on that, and that's what they're going to do with this kid, because I have a feeling this kid's going to be a complete player for this team. I really do.
No, there were a lot. You got to remember,
but guys, he shoots the puck.
Yeah,
he's not afraid to shoot. When he gets the puck on his stick, he's going to shoot. He's not looking to make that pretty pass. He just wants to get the puck on net. And I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just want
no. Great
That's
point.
perfect, bro. That's what we're trying to say here. Tavares used to shoot the puck, and he used to put the puck in play. How do you think Matt Molson made most of his, made his moolah? Down in the corner.
Like John Tavares and Lundberg.
Yeah. And for this Joseph over here, can't speak English, so he needs to lead by example. Then I want to see how he leads by example. That's exactly it. I'm going to combine what Gary just said, the language of hockey, but I want to see if Siplikov can lead by example. I want to see what kind of a leader he can actually be for this team. Because look, he's 26, 25 or something like that. But he's
26. Yeah, he made by 3 days. He's what? He's 1 year younger than Barzal.
Yeah. I want to see leadership out of this kid. I want to see it.
Right. You can't compare him to a Simon Holmstrom. You got to compare him to a Matt Barzal.
Gary,
someone in that range.
You see this kid play more than we do live. When he's out of the play, what's his body language? Does he look lost? Is he like, you know what the point I'm trying to make is his head in the game when he doesn't have the puck? Because we don't see that on TV.
No, to me, he's like a KGB agent. You wouldn't know what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a typical Russian player. But they are so maybe not as much as they were drilled in the time of the Tretiaks and the Harlamovs, but that Russian system is still intrinsic on thinking to play 2 moves ahead, as opposed to what you're doing right now. So he may look maybe out of place, but I guarantee you 2 seconds later, he's where he's got to be. So if he's not there, he'll get there. And it's like instantaneous.
And that's what
I have not seen a flaw on him yet.
And that's what we were talking about earlier.
That's why your prediction sorry, Joe. That's why I say your prediction of that November 5th game, I think that's going to be spot on. Because that's 5 games from now, maybe. So you figure that's 10 games. It's almost 15 game stand to see where people are. So I think it's time.
Well, we were talking about that before with the younger kids, which ones have the hockey sense.
Right.
And I think he's the fit for that top line.
Absolutely.
Until Duclair comes back. And don't forget, I have a feeling they're going to put this kid on the top line and he's not going to come off. That's what
I want to see. Right.
Yeah.
Because then Duclair can come back. He can play with
Palmieri and
Brock, and you can put Holmstrom back down on that third line if you wanted to. All right, so real quick, how far away are some of our prospects to give a shot on the top 2 lines? I will say this now. You guys know this already. I am probably the most critical of prospects. I have learned my lessons over the years. Gary will vouch for that. I have told you a lot of my mistakes, okay? I do not want any of them, including Alex Jeffries. I do not want any of them coming up this year. I
No.
want them to learn how to win as a team. Learn to win in a culture of winning this year, so when they do come up, they don't miss a beat. I don't care about. I do care about their individual scores. I do look at that, but that's more towards the end of the year. But they have to learn how to win at the lower professional level first. I don't want any of them up, and that includes Alex Jeffries. Even though Alex is doing phenomenal at the moment, he's tearing it up. He's, I think, number 2 in scoring in the rookies in the American Hockey League. It's still too early. Stop it. All of you, no. You're not bringing him up. Don't ruin this for me. No. Do not bring him up yet. He's not coming up in February. No. I need Bridgeport and the rest of those rookies to win as a team. Because then when Cole Eiserman shows up and he gets sent down, oh, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, for those of you high on Cole Eiserman, you guys are always getting told, oh, he's got 3 goals, 4 goals. Yeah, player of the week. Guess what? He's on a nationally ranked team. What are they? 2nd, 3rd in the nation? He's supposed to do that, folks. Okay. The reason why I was higher on Alex Jeffries, real quick, off topic, was because, yes, he was playing for Merrimack, but he was playing against Boston College. He was playing against BU. He was playing against those top Hockey East teams, and he was scoring at will against them. That is what had me going. There was more pressure on Jeffries than there is on Eiserman right now. Eiserman for the regular season, I'm not worried about it. Let him go hog wild. Let me see what he does in the playoffs. Let me see what he does for a national championship. Let me see him under pressure first, and then we'll have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Eiserman's not doing Macklin Celebrini numbers, but as a freshman, he's doing well, and that's fine. But you don't touch him. You
Right.
don't pull an Oliver Wahlstrom and come out after 1 year. Celebrini, because he was a number 1 pick. That's a different thing. James Hagens from Hop Hog, Long Island, who's now probably one of the best possibilities for the number 1 pick in the draft next year. Maybe that kid could come up. But if Cole Eiserman is smart, he stays right where he is and builds his game so that when he comes here, again, as Paul said, he's off the ground running.
Guys, I'm going to jump out.
Go ahead. Joe,
Okay.
Right, so
coming on.
I'll see. I'll catch you guys next week. All right.
Yep.
All right. Take care, Joe.
Thanks,
All right.
bro.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Someone might take away Paul's milks and cookies later. Absolutely not. No. Berg's having a good year. Yes, he is. Don't jinx it. Still looking like 2 years till some of these guys like Dufour and Jeffries come up. Well, look, if Siplikov pans out and he turns into a character player like John Tavares, if Simon Holmstrom finds his groove, if Oliver Wahlstrom finds his game, yeah, sure. You may not need to bring him up for another 2 years, and that's fine by me. Is Jeffries NHL caliber? Yes, but not yet. Not yet. James Hagen's related to Tommy? I don't know. Not a clue. But now, the reason why I asked you guys about who your heart and soul is, and I'm going to scroll back up here. Okay. Horvat. Kyle Palmieri. None. I like this one. Bruce Willis's mom. That's not right.
Son.
Bossy, character player, yes, but wrong era. Right, not right now. Brock for a serious answer. I like that. Nelson. Okay. None of you mentioned Matthew Barzell. None of you. No one has Matthew Barzal as your go-to guy. That's saying something. Kyle Palmieri, Casey Cizikas. Okay, you've got a decent tie here between Horvat and Brock Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know why the Islanders are in a state where they are right now? Because the younger kids are trying to figure out what an identity line is. And the Islanders are trying to find out if they have any type of a character player like John Tavares. Rocktober hasn't happened. Bo Horvat hasn't done it. I haven't seen the drive. That drive to the net, that passion, that will to live. Not will to live, that will to win.
What do you think of that question, Paul?
Do you think Barzy would play better with a letter on his chest? No. No, he hasn't earned it. No. I'll call him out right now. He hasn't earned it. Is he a star player? You bet. Has he made other players better? No.
No.
No. Have I seen Matthew Barzal crash a net? Gary, have you?
I can't even think of one.
Guys, in the chat room. In the chat room, all of you right now. This is a great conversation.
Even Claire just said she hasn't noticed them much.
Okay. Have you ever seen Matthew Barzal really crash the net? James, with Tavares. Tavares made other players better. And Tavares on this team, or a player like Tavares, would not allow his team to be shut out 3 games out of the first 6. Never. John Tavares, as a player, as an Islander, found a way to get things done. Even if he failed at it on a couple of games, there was a bigger determination. You don't see that in Matthew Barzal. Bo Horvat, for one strange reason, needs Matthew Barzal. I would love to see Bo Horvat take 2 other wingers and actually play center. Cutler, if he's a step slower, that's fine. Crash the net. Mark Parrish, Matt Molson, Kyle Oposo, they were slower players. Crash the net. Do something. Michael Pekka.
Small in stature, but he
do something to mess up the goalie.
Mark Parrish.
That's right.
PA. Forget about PA.
Yeah. PA Parento. Yeah, he passes it a lot, but he passes it back to the neutral zone. That drop pass absolutely annoys me. It annoys Joe to death. It's just like
on the power play. Yeah.
Yeah. Or anytime.
Predictable. It's so predictable.
John Tavares.
You could scout the Islander power play in 45 seconds.
Yes.
And know exactly what to do to beat them out. And
yep.
I've never skated with a stick in my hand. I skated with a stick in my hand, and I know how to stop that power play. It's easy.
Palffy never crashed in that. Palffy never crashed in that, but Palffy didn't miss.
No.
Where's my boy? There he is. He's over there on number 16. Randy Wood. You know what? This is another one. But Randy Wood, John Tonelli. Look, these are the guys that we're kind of missing at the moment. It doesn't have to be Tavares here. It doesn't have to be Michael Pekka. But I'm looking for a leader on this Islander team to take their game to another level so that way Patrick Waugh can get this team to another level like they're supposed to be at. So that's what I'm looking for. Is that what you're looking for, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to say where's the heart. The heart's there, but use it.
Yeah, I mean,
Show me the passion.
the telling tale about last night, about the comment that Patrick Watt said, is we beat them in every game but what you see on the scoreboard. Yes, they're playing the right way. Defensively, they're fine. Goaltending, they're fine. You know, it's just you've got that guy right there pointing to your jersey there would not allow that to happen.
Right.
And it doesn't have to say, put it on my back and I'll do it. That's not what we're necessarily saying. But he would talk to his guys calmly, because you know Tavares is not a rah-rah guy. His voice never got as high as this. But
yes, I know.
you knew when he said something, you know, we have to do this, or there's blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like E.F. Hutton. You know, when he talked, everybody listened.
Right.
And I don't, you know, Bo is a leader. He's been a captain. So we know he can do it. You know, and maybe he's not, you know, he's been here almost 2 years now. Maybe he should be comfortable with it, but he needs to be that person. To me, he's the closest one. I put Brock ahead. I mean, put Bo ahead of Brock when it comes to being that kind of Tavares person. And again, doesn't have to have the C to do it.
No,
but he's that type of person that can be that one and say, you know, not necessarily get on my back, but we can do this and get the team to move. Because believe me, you and I could have skated out there in the last 5 minutes of the third period. That's how completely out of sorts they were.
Right. And I'm keeping this comment up here, and I agree with Jim. Palmieri does it, Lee does it, and to a degree, Pajot's been trying to do it. The problem is, these are your twilight players, folks. These are the players that I have in my core category. These are your older players that, yes, you want them to have a decent regular season, but you need them for the playoffs. I don't want to see just Lee and Palmieri doing this anymore. I need to see another kind of leadership from the younger players. Actions speak louder than words at this point. I need to see more desperation from the younger players to get that puck in the net, and it doesn't involve shooting it from the perimeter all the time. But I agree with this, Jim. It's got to go a little more than that. And I agree with David here. Barzal couldn't shine Ziggy's shoes. And I agree with this too. Look, the third line hasn't been bad. The only thing that hasn't happened is that Casey hasn't scored yet, and neither is Holmstrom. And to be honest with you, one of those two will eventually get their goals in. But for those of you waiting on the fourth line to score, they really have like 4 games to go. Like on average, you're only expecting 7 to maybe 12 goals from a fourth line. They'll get it, but those kids have got to come together and create their own fourth line, and we'll find out what that is yet. But they need a little more time. Everyone else is doing well, except for the fact that when you lose 1-0 in 2 games where you should win, you need your whoever here to get you that win or a point or something. Just getting shut out at your own game does not happen, should not happen. Absolutely not. And we're kind of going off on a
it's kind of like it's, you know, I'm almost correlating, even though we're not 0-5, it's almost correlating the way the Mets came out of the box. 0-5. They looked hopeless. They looked totally clueless. But it's early. So it just shows, yes, it's game 6. We got time. There's time. There's time to will it out. You know, I mean, yes. We wanted the team to go 7-2-1 in the first 10. I think that's what I said a couple of weeks ago. You could check the tape, and they're not going to do it. But the point of the matter is, there's plenty of time to fix the wound. It's only early. It's scratching the surface. It hasn't gotten deep, so you can rectify that very quickly.
You can, but Joe's not here anymore. But I have to defend him on this one. The Rangers and Devils are starting to pull away, or the Rangers and Caps are starting to pull away in first and second, believe it or not, even though it is this early. They're both off to very good starts. If the Islanders don't get their act together and soon, and they lose ground, you're looking at a third, fourth, or fifth place finish because their star players, their leadership roles on the ice couldn't fulfill their roles, and now they're right back to where they were. So yes, there is time. I absolutely agree with that. But at the same time,
They've got to
leadership-
get their act together.
absolutely. Absolutely, because the Rangers are steamrolling right now. And the Capitals, I warned you about the Capitals too. Be careful with them. The Devils are, we still have the Devils. They've got a lot of games played and whatnot. There is still time. But the leadership of players in that room have got to step their games up. That's right. They didn't show the heart, grit, brains, and Gautier's case. Yes, that's true. But guess what? Where's the grit from Horvat? Where's the grit from Barzell? Even a little bit of Brock, too. I mean, we're seeing old man Palmieri, old man Lee. We're seeing Pajot crash the net. Where is everybody else? Hell, even Bossy did that. Bossy crashed the net, too. He didn't always shoot. Palfy didn't always shoot. It's just, yes, right here. It's troubling. Get to the net. Yes, Butch Goring, again, happy birthday to Butch yesterday, but good things happen when you shoot the puck, but it's even better when you actually crash the net and you get that puck moving. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Bingo, Cutler. But you've got a sound goaltending. You've got the sound defense going. It's up to some of these players, their star players, to get, especially in these close games. You gotta win these games. Tavares would never let, or any kind of a Tavares player, let me just say that, would never let his team get shut out the way they have right now. He just wouldn't. This is one hell of a conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. So, does Barzell know how to spell grit? No. That's why we're complaining about it.
Oh, he's just happy because his team's finally doing something right for the first time.
It's Calgary. Yeah, Calgary's actually doing something. All right, boys and girls, any other last questions, comments, concerns? I see the Caps are winning tonight. It's 3-0. Listen, let me help you guys out real quick here. To Gary's credit, heading into games 10, heading into games 15, the only team that I would absolutely eliminate heading into those times might just be the Philadelphia Flyers. Montreal is hanging on. Other than that, everybody else is still in it. So from everything that I've been told, everything that I've done the research on before the season started, it's looking like my normal 10-game elimination will be around game 15. And then for those of us who normally look at Thanksgiving as a barometer for the playoffs, I think we may have to go the middle of December. I don't know if we're going to be closer to Christmas, depending on injuries and everything else like that. But Gary is correct. There is still some time left. But as some of us have already mentioned, the Rangers and Caps are slowly pulling away, and the Islanders need to keep pace for once. First coach fired. I say Bednar. No, Bednar has been struck with an injured team again, like he did his first year.
Yep.
And
they've won their last 4 games.
Yeah, they are.
I think it was our game that kind of got them to switch themselves around. So I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I did the standings for. I know I did the standings. What the heck? Give me a moment.
We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
No. I know. It didn't save. Son of a gun. Oh well. No. I mean, if I'm going out the West right now, um, Nashville's coach could be under the hot seat because they haven't done well. I don't know if Edmonton coach is going to be under the hot seat. I don't think so.
No.
They should be all right. San Jose is going to be the first team out again. Other than that, I don't know. And that's why we were saying 15, 20 games might be my 10-game baseline. It's just, I don't want to say watered down, but there's no one really pulling away. There may only be one or two teams pulling away. And unfortunately, two of them are in the Metro Division.
Yeah, and it's not like there's been a lot of injury issues either that's taken teams down.
No.
I mean, we're maybe one of the biggest ones to have a major injury so far.
Right. I mean, Tampa's doing well so far. The Senators are doing well. Can they hold on to that? I think Tampa might be able to do it. I don't know if the Sens can, but I'm kind of rooting for the Sens because I haven't seen them do that in a while.
They got a good young team.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
going to
their
be.
makeup.
Yeah, and again, it is too early, but I'm going to tell you guys to extend that earliness a little bit more. We normally have a schedule. This is one of those years where we can probably do an extension on that. So 4-0 Caps now. Wonderful. And that's the big one, Robin. Test will be head-to-head in our division, and that is our first game in the division against the Devils on Friday. At the Rock. Is that a statement game, Gary?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a statement. Of course, we have a viewing party that night.
Yes,
Booster
we
Club
do.
does, and yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I agree with the Flyers, Cutler. I thought 87 would be their goal this year. I don't know if they're going to catch it, but I'd like to see them get as close to 87 as possible. I don't see them making a playoff run this year. And
I like the kid.
Yeah.
Mitch Coffey. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I said in August
I
I didn't see Philly doing much this year, but they'll get better very quickly. There we go, James. We got Columbus, Anaheim coming up, and Florida team without Barkov. We will know more after this month, which just happens to be Game 10.
Yep.
And this is why we're having this discussion tonight, folks. We've had two games played in Islander style, and we lost. That's on the leadership of this team, the players specifically. There's nothing wrong with the system. Power play to a degree. Well, let's talk about the power play real quick. I haven't been able to see all the games, but Gary, everyone's telling me too many passes.
Oh, Claire, would you agree with that? Too many passes on the power play? She said it all.
Yeah. That's on players.
I will say the first couple weren't that bad. Yeah. The beginning of the game, I thought the power play was good. They were doing the right things.
Right.
If you're gonna make that many passes, you got to get guys, the defensemen, off themselves, and they were doing that. They were getting quality chances as a result of it. But the third period, like I said, you could have put us with knee pads, and we probably would have did better. Right. They were just completely out of sorts. And as much as I like him, I think I'm not as happy with Riley on the second unit right now.
Okay.
He's made too many mistakes.
Okay.
It's not been as seamless as it was last season. Again, that could be fixed. But I'm not pleased with the second unit as much.
Okay. World Series predictions. I am going to go Dodgers, but again, if you live in, if you know any Yankee fans, excuse me, we're going to have this issue. If the Yankees win the World Series, we're going to hear Yankee fans, yay, we did it again, number 28, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is, whatever. Yankee fans won't shut up. If the Yankee fans lose the World Series, it's going to be fire Boone all the way until February. So no matter what happens, Yankee fans are not going to shut up until February and everything gets going again, or until Brett Boone is finally fired, which I don't see why, because he keeps winning divisions after divisions after division. But one way or another, Cutler, we all lose because Yankee fans just won't shut the hell up. That wasn't a rant, was it?
Yeah, look, smidgen. Smidgen. I'm a National League guy, so
Yeah, I'll go Dodgers.
unfortunately
I don't want to see the Yankees win.
Unfortunately, they beat my Met. I mean, I'm not I used to be a big Yankee hater. I'm not as much now, but I still will root against them. But I just think the way the Dodgers are constructed, I think they're better constructed for the playoffs. I really do,
Right.
and I don't trust the Yankee bullpen. It's not been that effective, and they've overworked them. Where I think the Dodgers have been able to really, they have had to use reliever games, but they've effectively worked it out. And that's what I think. And I'm sorry, I mean, but there's just no, Ohtani is just a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that short porch in Yankee Stadium, whoa.
And listen, a part of me agrees with this. We probably could have won those shutout games if we scored on the power play, but I don't want to use the power play as a reason why we win. I want to use the power play to just get that feeling of dominance. I love beating a team 5-on-5, but if we can add salt to the wound, that's when you add to that power play. That's when I want to see the Islanders score.
Remember, you're playing 50. Remember, you're playing 90% of your game not on the power play.
Right.
So you've got to build on that 90 and not, yes, worry about the 10, but it's not the reason your team is going to make the playoffs and win the game or not. In most cases, if you're not, when the Islanders were doing their best in the 21 and 22 seasons, they were doing it because they were winning the 5-on-5 battles, tremendously winning 5-on-5 battles, and they're not doing it now.
Happy birthday, Thomas's dad. I'm sure. Yeah, he'll listen to the show tomorrow. He'll give me all the reviews. So, yep. Any other questions, comments, concerns, boys and girls? Been a fun show so far.
And by the way, it was your host's birthday this past week, so everybody can say happy birthday to Paul.
Yeah, yesterday turned 48.
He's 216 years old today. This week.
Wow, damn.
Yeah, damn. Well, that's all right. Mine's coming in 3 weeks. You can bust my horns then.
That's true. And see, I agree with this. We play like last night's. We win 90% of the games, allowing 10 shots. Yes, but we got to see this. We got to see a player with some kind of character from a former number 91, or a John Tonelli, or a Michael Pekka, someone who's going to go all out and win that game. I don't know if we have him yet.
Oh, Paul, do you want me back, eh?
No. No. We get that, Ryan. We're in there. Thank you, Cutler. We'll see you next week. Agreed. I think the power play is going to improve. Have we seen Wahlstrom on the power play at all?
No, I don't think so.
That needs to happen soon, too.
Yeah.
His shot is too good for that not to happen as well. But again, I think they're just easing him in. So, what's the absolute earliest you would recommend Jeffries or Yzerman to come in? Yzerman, minimum 3 years. Minimum 3, depending on what he does.
At least 2 in college.
Yes, at least 2 in college. At least 2 in college. Give him a little time in Bridgeport, and you just go from there. Alex Jeffries, a full season this year. And if the team is winning, there's no need to bring him up yet. You got to see where all the dynamics are. You got to see where Wahlstrom is. You got to see where Palmieri is and all that other stuff. But Bridgeport, at this point, for this whole organization, they need to develop a winning culture, and it starts this year. Jeffries is to be a part of it. He should be. No. And for those of you trying to ruin my moment and steal my milk and cookies, no. Keep him there all season long.
And you've got good leadership there. I wasn't a big Seth Helgeson fan, but I like having Bardot as the captain and having Terry back. That is more critical than the makeup of the team, is that you have a bunch of young kids with great leadership with it. And I think that will work just fine.
Matthew, could be 4 years for Yzerman. That's fine. You guys got to remember, I'm from that Bill Torrey. I am from that Lou Lamoriello, that Dave Poyle, even Steve Yzerman cloth, Jimmy Devellano cloth. Keep them there, overcook them, and then bring them up. Keep them down there as long as possible until they get it right. And then when they do, they're never going back. That's what
You're not going to have guys. You're not going to have guys that are going to beat Gretzky's record. Okay.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. So you want them to be here at their top.
Yep.
You know, I mean, if 6 forward, God forbid, get hurt, you know, then that thought of, you know, a Jeffries or whatever, it might have to happen, but that's being forced that to happen. But in the perfect world, no one comes up. And that's what you want.
So, all righty. Foodie, Karlstrom, Gauthier were involved if there is cap space. For those are only the guys I get seen call up anymore. Yeah, no, I agree. You know, Foodie's already up. Karlstrom could get that call up. I think if JG Pajot gets injured, I think Karlstrom, I don't think he'll be a bad fit with the team. I'm honestly kind of surprised that Fasching did not get the call up, but I don't know
I thought so too.
if he's still playing injured or if there's still an injury he's working through. Gauthier and Engvall, I think Engvall, you might see him for the playoffs, the NHL playoffs. I think he's the only person that I think would get called up at the moment. Everyone else is going to be down there.
And you notice Engvall did get the first goal of the season for Bridgeport, but I think he's -4.
Could be.
Something like that, -3, -4. So it's not translated into the AHL yet either. So, you know, I think it's going to be a major head issue.
Well, here's and this is a good point, Joseph. I don't understand why a guy like Bedard comes in when he's 18, but Yzerman has to wait 3 years, literally 19 picks between them in the first round. And I'll give you a simple reason. Chicago will not be making the playoffs anytime soon. There's absolutely no pressure on Connor Bedard to do anything with Chicago last year or this year except become the new face of the Chicago Blackhawks. When Cole Yzerman is ready, boys and girls, 3 years, 4 years time, Matthew Barzal will still be 30. Matthew Barzal with Cole Yzerman will be absolutely lethal. And Yzerman has a two-way game. Those two of a combination will be lethal. And the Islanders may still be doing some kind of playoff run within that time. Chicago, we don't know what they're going to do. But Bedard is now the face for the Chicago Blackhawks. Yzerman does not have to be right now. Bedard is a generational talent.
There's no question.
Right. And that's why he's there now.
And if you look back, and Ryan would know because he's a Vancouver boy, you know, in the Western League, you know, Bedard was a complete player.
Yes, he was.
Absolute complete player. And the defensive liability on Yzerman was big. And that's why he was picked number 20. Because he was up in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the year. But his defensive play is bringing him down. Number 1 even? Okay, there you go.
Yep.
So that's why he's picked number 20. So that's your reasoning right there. That's why Yzerman won't be up.
Right.
Yes, you can have all the shooting in the world. Ask Oliver Wahlstrom. Yep. You can have all the offensive ability in the world. But if you can't play 200 feet, you're not going to be an NHL player. And Bedard has been playing that way since he's 15.
Yep. Any other questions, comments, concerns, boys and girls? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. Do I want John Tavares back? No. That wasn't the point.
Are you sure?
Yes. No, I'm sure.
Okay. Bye, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Put that away. But there needs to be some kind of a John Tavares character on this team, someone who's willing to lead this team by example. I don't know if we necessarily have that, and it doesn't have to be John Tavares. It could be your Michael Pekka. It could be your John Tonelli. It could be your Bob Nystrom. Depending on how far back you want to go. But there has to be someone on this team to literally take the bull by the horns and just will this team to a victory when the opposite team is playing your style.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be one there. I'll even take a Pavelski. That's a good one, Matthew, because Pavelski used to do that. Absolutely. Could that be Siplikov? We'd like to see that. We'd like to see him lead by example. So thank you. We'll do this again next Wednesday.
Yes, we will.
Gary, where can they find you, bud?
At Isles Met 63. But I do most of my talking here. Or Section 316 at UBS Arena.
Oh, there he is. So, and yeah, for those of you who are going to be free Friday, I am coming down to Long Island. I'm going to be, where are we going to be?
Do you know what? We could say.
No, where am I going to be?
You're going to be at the main event in Farmingdale.
All right, I'm going to be at the main event, which is already booked up. But if you guys want to meet up beforehand in the afternoon, I just has to visit my aunt at like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So wait, I don't get killed and I don't get disowned. But if you guys want to hang out between 3 and 5, let me know. DM me. We'll hang out somewhere. We'll talk Islanders hockey, and then we'll have a good time. So if not, please follow us on Isles Talk on X. We are now verified. Like and subscribe on the YouTube. Those metrics have been very helpful. And don't forget to like us on Facebook as well and follow us there. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun show. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with probably another topic to talk about. Hopefully it's on the better side. So for Gary, Joe,
I'll try to find another one of these.
No. That's
not
okay.
him. Another one.
No. We'll give it to Joe. All righty, boys and girls. Take care. See you later. Let's go, Islanders.
Easy.